Hello, Internet. Welcome to another episode of Chai and Chill. And today I have with us Ishita Roy. Ray, which one?
Works.
My friend, someone who dabbles in astrology. And without further ado, welcome to Chai and Chill. Before we dive into the whole written in the stars, I have gone back to my storyteller cup. And it is dripping because I have switched from hot chai to iced tea.
Good for you. Yeah. And I have Booty over here, who I procured especially for Chai and Chill. So,
I like how people are bringing out their cups for Chai and Chill. It's very sweet.
Right. So, I got an excuse to splurge on a cup from Timber. This is not a promo, by the way. Timber did not pay me.
Okay. My first question to you is, we have known each other for quite some time now, and I have always known you as somebody who is deeply interested in astrology. When did this interest start?
So it all started with the godmother of astrology, who is Linda Goodman for all of us. Her sun signs is our Bible, as we all know. If someone crops up in our lives, we would want to look them up on sun signs, given the chance that we get to know what their when their birthday is. So that's how it started when I was in class 7 or so, and I think I was 12 then. And gradually it snowballed into something deeper. By the time I was 16 or 17, I was reading charts, primarily tropical charts, or as you know, the Western way of seeing things. And then currently I'm studying Vedic astrology. I got a little bit of formal training, but then again, due to issues, I couldn't pursue it further. So right now I'm just doing a little bit of self-study. So yeah, that's how it all started, and this is where I am.
Like you said, the first thing we tend to ask people when we first meet them is, what's your zodiac? But do you really think that you can put 7 billion people into these 12 distinct categories?
Again, it's quite redundant to do so, because it's as good as telling people that a sheep is a mammal or something like that. So of course not. That doesn't work. It quite doesn't work like that. I wish I could outline the philosophy behind how it's done, how the calculations are done, and how you determine a person's characteristics or whatever, or the works actually. So anyway, so there are many more permutations and combinations. So we wouldn't want to compress the whole thing into something that is sellable, just because, well, it's pop culture. Yeah.
Okay, so I speak to you a lot about astrology, so I am aware of this. But for people who are just stumbled across the channel, probably clicked because I said astrology in the title, what is the difference between your sun sign, your moon sign, and your star sign? Is it the same? Is it different?
Okay, so now you are actually asking for it. So I'll just give a quick astrology 101.
Yes.
Yeah. So the sun remains in one zodiac sign for a period of, let's say, 20 to 25 to 28 days almost. Okay. If I'm not wrong. Again, I'm a student even now. So please, whatever I'm saying, that comes with this caveat that I am not responsible for whatever I'm saying. So it stays in one sign for so many days. But the moon, it changes its zodiac sign in 2 days or so. And star sign per se is basically what we understand in Eastern astrology or Indian astrology as nakshatra. And each like each day of the month has a separate nakshatra. It's a lunar mansion actually. It's thought of as a myth that when the moon god got married to 27 sisters, he was just in love with one of them, and she was called Rohini. She's considered the most beautiful of all the sisters. And but their father insisted that the god Soma, he should marry all the 27 sisters and they should be treated equally. So each day of the month, the moon god stays in one particular star sign or lunar mansion. So that is the difference you have. Like our moon sign is like pretty much different, but most people would want to like relate to their sun signs because it's easier and less complicated to use. And as far as star signs are concerned, it's even more vast, so we wouldn't get there. But yeah, like I mentioned in the myth, that's about.
So you're talking about star signs and moon signs, and how most well, if you follow astrology blogs, or if you follow right now, there are the Instagram astrologers on Instagram as well. So they tell you things like, okay, this is not a good time for Leos, this is not a good time for Aries. Maybe this is the time when Cancers should look into getting into a relationship or something. Do you really believe that astrology can help you make these very important life decisions?
Like I wouldn't discount on them completely, but it only works if you're sure of yourself. Then of course, like you don't. Why would you depend on something external to decide your life choices? You shouldn't be doing that. But if you're in a dilemma about what to pursue, then of course this is something that can offer some insight. But only if you're in a dilemma, not otherwise. Like let not astrology dictate what your core beliefs are, because like that's not its purpose. Its purpose is to like throw in some light. Like Jyotish, it's basically to throw light into darkness. So if you're already enlightened about something, why would you want more light? That's about it.
So the other thing that astrology plays a huge part in is when we meet someone new, and especially if we are trying to pursue a romantic relationship with them. You and I both know how much I have driven you up the wall about it. So what about, yeah, I can see your face. What about compatibility? You buy into the whole thought of how certain signs will make a good match for each other and how others would not. Like, for example, a Virgo and a Sagittarius is supposed to be a doom from the start. Like, we all know how that story will end. Maybe 9 out of 10 times it is what it is. It doesn't work out. And the one time is the exception. And people tend to go for the exception. But what is the reality? Is compatibility really a factor with signs?
Again, like because the philosophy that I'm studying now, because I wouldn't want to put astrology as a science per se, because it's not. For me, it's philosophy. So as far as the philosophy of compatibility is concerned, normally when people come to me to check their compatibility, they give me the charts of their charts and their partner's charts, and like I obviously have to do the calculation of that. So I always ask them something. If they're like really serious on, let's say, I've had people who are serious about marrying their partner. So I just ask them that if you are going for a love marriage, why would you even want to do a compatibility report? Because you're sure of your partner, and they're sure of you, obviously. So why would you want to even do that? Why would you want something, like I said, why would you want something external to dictate whatever you're going to do in your personal lives? Because you have come together by individual choice, and astrology never had anything to do with it. It was just fate. And astrology is not exactly fate. It can give you an outline of the same, but it can't dictate the same. So yeah, that's about it. So as far as doomed relationships are concerned, I would say it's about the vibes that people give you, and if you aren't with the right people, if you say things out loud, like you told me once that I wouldn't want to jinx something which is going well from the start. And it is, I think it's something like that. Like by saying some things out loud, people might just jinx their own good fortune.
Yep.
So I wouldn't want, I think like 8 times out of 10 or 7 times out of 10, most people overdo or go for an overkill when it comes to a personal relationship by saying things out loud to their near and dear ones. And of course, they expect solutions from them, but what you get in the end is a lesson. It's not exactly a solution. Like people come as lessons, they are not solutions.
I like that. People come as lessons, they are not solutions.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next question, which is about this brilliant year that we are living through, 2020, where the world is burning. And then there was this entire articles, a lot of articles about how 5 planets are in retrograde right now, and maybe that is why Earth is experiencing everything. Do you really think the stars and the planets had something to do with Earth almost burning to the ground?
Okay, so as far as the Earth burning down is concerned, I think that only happens for regeneration. And as far as the astrological ramifications are concerned, I'll just get to the technicalities. It's as simple as that. But then again, I might be wrong. The caveat again over there. So, honestly, you have so many people, you've had so many people commenting on how 2020 is going to be like. 2020 was basically the it year for the longest time we can imagine. Like ever since 2012 happened, 2020 became the it year. So there are obviously a few things that triggered this as per the latest astrological news is concerned. It's not exactly latest, it all started in 2019 actually. So you have 2 shadow planets, and they are called Rahu and Ketu. And they were exalted in the sense that they were in their highest part ever since, let's say, August 2019. And this exaltation period is going to end, let's say, in September. But should that mean that, okay, like, because we got to know that this virus got its first exposure to the public eye during that time in Wuhan, right? So in and around 2019 August, like there was this hushed up news about a doctor getting the virus from a patient from Wuhan, right? And that is where it all started, and it's going on till now. So the question is, so it started then, in and around the time when the exaltation was gaining momentum. So will this exaltation, this termination of this exaltation, will it bring about the downfall of the coronavirus? Of course, doesn't happen. So basically, this is a period where we get to see what we have done to ourselves as a race, and it's just a lesson. Like that is all any planet can teach us. Like look at yourselves, look at what you have done to yourselves. Yeah, that's about it. So there is no solution. Like there is no solution. There are no problems as such, because this is something that was bound to happen. That's about it.
So I know there are no solutions, but when you do visit astrologers, you are asked to wear certain stones and certain gems. Whenever you do a consultation, they tend to tell you that, maybe you should have this stone doesn't work for you, this is draining your power. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so because I was skeptical of gemstones ever since I delved into this path of astrology. And of late, I've been dabbling with crystals. I'll make an honest confession here. So I like crystals. It's as simple as that. And having them around makes me feel good. And I wouldn't know if they brought about some major change in my life or not, but just the thought that you have something from Mother Earth in your room, and maybe it's sitting pretty on your desk, but sometimes you just hold it and you think about the time that it has been under the earth, and like how Mother Earth has crafted it the way it is right now in your hand. And I think that itself is a very good, that itself is a very good USP for us to have crystals anyway. But then again, I wouldn't say that they are solutions for anything, because like I said, the solution is perfectly logical, and it's all there in your head, and you have all your answers inside. And crystals or gemstones, for that matter, they can't change anything in your life. They can only be an accessory per se. But then again, there are so many people who have endorsed the same, and I've seen those people go through major life changes, good, bad, whatever they may be. But a gemstone didn't stop the bad things from happening, or it didn't maneuver the good things. Whatever did that was the person themselves. So I wouldn't say that they would exactly help to accelerate your life in any way, but they would definitely help to accentuate or enhance it in some. That's about it.
Okay. So I know that you have consulted for a lot of people in the past, myself being one of them. That is why the entire point of bringing you on Chai and Chill. And you continue to be my unofficial consultant. But would you ever consider doing this professionally?
Not really, because like when I read charts, it basically gives me the honor of serving my nearest and dearest loved ones, and for me, like that's the closest I can get to you without even talking to you, without even knowing what you're going through verbally. I just look into your charts and I have an idea that okay, this is something that might bring about a little bit of tears, or a lot of smiles in the near future. So I think by giving me the opportunity to read your chart, you are honoring me, and that's about it. That's about it. So I wouldn't want to do this professionally, because that would mean exchange, like it will be an exchange of sorts. And for me, this is a service, it's not an exchange. Yeah, I'd like to keep it that way.
Okay, and finally, I know you and I always talk about how everything related to astrology should be taken as a guideline. It is not the ultimate truth. What do you have to say to people who tend to base everything on astrology? Because I know every single time I have gone to you, you kept telling me this is not it. This is just a guideline. You cannot base everything in your life on what we find from your chart.
Yeah, so like I think I have covered this throughout this interview, but again I would say that this is just a like whatever the stars have to tell you. Where you arrive at is predetermined and predestined. How you arrive at it, the attitude that you have throughout this journey, that is what matters, and that is what counts. The ultimate destination is always, it's I think for me it's nothingness, or when you are in unity with the all, and the journey that you undertake, that is what makes this unification worthwhile. So yeah, that's all I've got to say. Like if you know everything beforehand, this whole journey doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I quite agree. Then there is the surprise of life. Like I understand wanting to be warned if something bad is about to happen, but I guess intuition does work. Like personally for me, my intuition has always been very bang on. The times I've ignored my intuition is the times I have suffered. So the lesson I learned is trust
Again,
yourself.
like I think astrology would become redundant if people would actually take out the time to know themselves. And if people have this self-reflective and self-exploratory approach towards their lives, then they wouldn't want to ask for the services of a person to throw light into the darkness that their lives are, because it would already be enlightened. You have the light within you. That's what matters. So of course sometimes you need the help of certain people, but can't be always. Like, can't be which kind of tea should you drink, or what kind of gemstone should you wear, or what kind of color should you wear on such and such day, because of course that matters if you want to be at one with the energy that day brings. But it won't make sense if somebody else tells you that. It's something that should come as a calling from within. Like, for example, like today's Saturday, and it's supposed to be a day which is you know arrive with the energies of Saturn, and Saturn is generally associated with the color black, and I am wearing black. But then my hair is also black, and so is yours. So it shouldn't really matter that, should it? But anyway, so if you want to be at one with the energies that are around you, there are many ways you can do so, like through crystals, through color, through meditation, through mantras and everything. But what matters most is that you are here because of yourself. That is the highest karma of all. Like, all this wouldn't matter if you wouldn't exist, and who should have any control over your life but yourself? That's it.
Thank you so much for joining me on Chai and Chill. This has been very interesting. I'm sure there will be a lot of other people who are going to ask me that, can I ask her for consultation? No, she only does that for her friends. So I'm sorry,
So,
but
again, I would want to digress over here about something. I know it wasn't discussed before, but I do consultations for people who are really in need of some insight into their lives, provided that they are not cynical or unkind to themselves or to someone else who wants to help them, like myself. Because I have this inherent tendency to help people without them asking for it. Yeah, that's me. So anyway, so yeah, I did consultations for a few people here and there, but again, I wouldn't do that in a professional capacity. I would only ask them that if you would trust me to give you a solution for something, then please do take my words with a pinch of salt. Otherwise, like, hail fellow well met. That's it.
well, in that case, I think we've covered it. She is not active on Instagram. She's pretty active on Facebook. I will link her Facebook. If you want, you can message her. And if she wants, she will help you. We are not promising anything. That is fair.
Right, yeah. Yeah, but
I hope
again,
to-
I'm not
yeah.
active on Instagram, although you'll be tagging me over there.
Sorry, that
I'm
was
kind
Felix.
of an anti. Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, that was a meow. When you said I'm not active on Instagram, he just kind of said meow because he has an Insta profile.
Right. Yeah. I like, it should be life lessons for me, but anyway. Oh my goodness, like my internet connection is unstable. Right. No, now it's stable again. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. I
Yeah,
hope I
thank
see
you
you
so
next
much
time
for
when
having
I'm
me.
in the city.
Yes, of course. And I hope like this will help your viewers to understand the basics, if not a lot of astrology. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Thanks.